To Patrick's Models and Transport. Right, so now we're going to glue the glazing in position in the SNCF baggage car because it was missing glazing strips. I cut them out. I used 0.24 ml polystyrene transparent glazing sheet for modelling, and a spot of glue and glaze. I've put a drop here on the paper, and now I'm just going to use a toothpick or a cocktail stick, as people like to call them nowadays. I always call them toothpicks. Inside just in there, here, just a spot. We don't really need to complicate our lives too much, because anyway, this stuff will be held in position by, I've cut and I want to anyway make sure that the uprights stay in position, so I'll just dirty that a little bit like that. But I don't want to have to, going to clean things, overlapping and things like that. So that's very, very simple. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this. It's an easy fit. It just slides in, and we'll just pop it in that way and drop it in like that. Okay, I'll just use the back of the toothpick to push that in, and that's us, nice and tidy. I can use a cotton bud just to press it in position. There we go, just enough to, we don't want any, there won't even be any overlap. There's a spot at the bottom, it doesn't really matter, that'll just dry, it'll be completely transparent once it's dried. Okay, perfect. Now that's one done, let's do the next one. Just a spot of glue. In fact, I think I've been pretty generous with the glue in this case here, so we'll just be a bit more Aberdonian with this one. Just pop there. Just need to put some, dirty it a bit. We can be a bit more Aberdonian here. My grandfather used to always mention, my grandfather taught me to take photographs, and with a film camera, and of course with film camera, there weren't any other cameras around at the time, and he taught me to try, when loading the film, to be very careful in pulling out the film from the cartridge, because you could get an extra shot, an extra exposure, and he called it the Aberdonian one. So until I stopped using film cameras in 2003 more or less, I was a big, I always had an Aberdonian, even maybe two Aberdonians. And this comes from the dwellers of the city of Aberdeen, who in Scotland are considered the most thrift people of our already apparently thrift nation. Albion, the industrial vehicle manufacturer, they had a bus, the Albion Aberdonian, because Albions were famous for their economy. And we also say in Scotland, there's a joke, who invented copper wire? And two Aberdonians who were arguing for a penny. Pennies were made of copper, and they pulled it, and so anyway, my Scottish side enjoys these stories about being Aberdonian and things like this. And technically, it's actually quite interesting that the same thing applies to my other ethnicity, because I am half Scottish and half Italian, and to my Italian grandmother was actually Croat. She was from Istria, and the Istrian Peninsula, which then became Yugoslavia after the Second World War. And before that, it had been part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire before the First World War, so it was part of Italy for a short period. And they say that the people from Istria are also very careful with their money. So then here in Italy, we usually make these jokes about stinginess, about the people from Liguria and Genova. But I don't really know any. I know some. I have some friends from that part of the world, so I can't really vouch and say if they're really stingy, but I might be able to talk about the Scots and about the Istrians. Anyway, it's always good to get an Aberdonian, whatever you're doing. I'm going to go in. Right. Okay. There's a series of pegs here to catch it in nice and straight. Okay, got it. No problem. That's that in. Let's just press that down. And that's just in nice. So we'll just take the cotton bud, which in Glasgow, we would call it a lug howker. Cotton bud. It's a cotton bud. It's a lug howker, because you howk your lugs. Lugs are ears, and to howk is this operation here. You know, howking, a lug howker. So, okay, let's settle for cotton buds. You're not even supposed to clean your ears out with this stuff. It's not really the best solution. A lug howker. Alright, so it's a toothpick and a lug howker. Okay, then just press that in position, and that's it. Bob's your uncle. What we'll do at the end, to make sure that the glue sets properly and holds these well in position, at the end I'll just fit the roof in. I'll just put the roof in without screwing it in. I'll just leave the glue to set, so that the roof holds the glazing in position against the inside walls of the carriage. Okay, so let's turn round and do the other side. This is the only bit of original glazing that was still available, no? So let's do the same job, just a spot. You see that glue and glaze is a great product. You don't really need very much, and it's really a very, very good product. Yes, it's a PVE glue, but it's really good, and I use it even for fitting parts that are absolutely not related with glazing. I completely restored, and I'll have to do some proper videos with editing before I decided to do a channel. I restored a double-decker SNCF French Etat line carriage, and rebuilding all the double-decker one, and I rebuilt all the banisters and all the railings and things on it using copper wire glued with this glue, with glue and glaze. So it's a very, very good product. Very good product. Also because it can be overpainted. You can glue painted parts, and you can also paint it without problems. So anyway, you'll see me using plenty of this, and but you'll never see me using super glue. Oh, when I see super glue being used, I cringe. Ugh, super glue is one of the worst possible things. It makes a mess. It's no use on most plastics. Absolutely no use. And there are much better cements and things to use than super glue. Super glue is the absolute no-go in any form of modelling, at least. I do not like super glue. Keep the super glue, and it might be okay for it's okay for an emergency repair or something, but if you're doing, it's like people making 3D printed models, wonderful jobs, etc., and they go and glue them together with super glue. Jings, super glue, absolute rubbish. I mean, the whole point of modelling is to take your time and enjoy the assembly. Definitely not to be rushing things using super glue. But these are just my ideas. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I do appreciate there are plenty of YouTubers that I follow and appreciate who use super glue, and when they're doing repairs, I like their work. They're great guys, etc. But I'm sorry, super glue, no way, Jose, as they say. Anyway, much better results can be obtained, and with a wee bit of patience. And this stuff sets pretty fast, so you don't really need to wait centuries for it to dry or anything. And if you make a mistake with this, you take the part off, you clean it with water, and that's it. Bob's your uncle, back to normal. Do it with super glue. Super glue makes an absolute mess of everything. The worst possible thing you can use in modelling is super glue. Let's just pop this in position. We'll go in with great caution. Try and get it there. In it goes. And that's it. Perfect. That's you in position. There you go. That's the way in. Push it down with the toothpick. Okay. It hasn't gone. Okay, perfect. Now we just take the cotton bud. I keep wanting to say lug howker. Okay, and just press that in position like that so that it stays nice and well sealed on. That came rather nice. Okay, perfect. Let's see how the other side's getting on. There we go. That's glued on. And now I'm just going to take the roof and pop the roof on, and so that it stays in position and it just holds the glazing where it should be. There you go. That's it in. There, it's sort of pressed in position. This way the glazing will set, and this will also help clip it in position. Keep it pushed against the inside walls of the carriage. And there we go. That's it, ready. So we'll just leave this here, let it set, and when I finish, I'll put the brass screw inside. Okay, very well. Thank you for your attention and for being interested in what I'm doing here and listening to me rambling on and talking about lug howkers and things like this, and my ranting about my choice of glue. No offense if you use super glue, not a problem. Super glue can be used. I've used it myself. You have to be very, very careful, and super glue very often is not a good plastic glue. It's a generic glue, so it can be a solution, but I prefer to avoid it. Okay, absolutely, it's not a good. Better a PV, and glue and glaze is fantastic. You can glue metal parts, so it's really a good. This is really a good glue. Okay, very well, and so that's enough for the moment. I'm away to have my dinner. I'm also feeling a bit better. You'll hear even from my voice, and getting a bit better with this COVID I had. And if you're interested in the channel, please click the subscribe button, the notification bell, and comments. Any comments in particular regarding modelling glue and things you use are more than welcome. And if you want to tell me that super glue is fantastic, I take no offence. It's I just got a bee in my bonnet about super glue. Okay, right. Cheerio, and see you next time. Ciao, ciao.